Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a little while since I last did a bullet journal video and we're coming up to Christmas, so I thought I'd ease us in with a November plan with me. Now first of all, I just really want to thank all of you for all the amazing comments that you've left on my YouTube channel, especially on the bullet journal videos. They mean the absolute world to me and I've enjoyed reading every single one of them, so thank you. You actually motivated me to get my bum into gear this month and get on with this planning video, so thank you very much. So any of you that know me will know that I'm absolutely obsessed with autumn as a season. I do love Christmas and I do love winter because of the festivities, but in terms of temperature and weather-wise, autumn is definitely my favourite because you can just use light layers and you don't have to bundle up too much. It's not that cold just yet, although it's definitely getting there. So as you can see, I again mapped out this month with pencil to begin with because I am not an artist, unfortunately. I'm not all that talented, so it just makes me a little bit more comfortable having done it in pencil first because I do make loads of mistakes. Unfortunately, yeah, I just can't do freehand all that good, but it's fine, it turns out pretty in the end, and that's just the way I prefer to do it. So you'll see that with my plan with me this month, I've drawn, I mean, you can't really tell what they are yet, but at the bottom there's some pumpkins, and I'm kind of mapping out some sort of, I want to say they look like fireworks. They're supposed to look like fireworks. That is what they are. But yeah, I feel like I've got to tell you they're fireworks. So maybe when I add some colour, they'll look a bit more convincing. I'm hoping you'll also notice that my handwriting slash, it's not quite calligraphy, it's not that good yet. But yeah, I've been working on my handwriting and the calligraphy-ish style. I'm hoping you've noticed. If not, it's kind of all in my head. Most of it's down to the pens, and I've also been using YouTube videos to sort of help me learn how to use calligraphy. It's mainly all about patience, but I'll link below the pens I use because I did find that the pens made a massive difference to the style of the handwriting and to the technique, so I'll link everything I use down below. One thing I did do here, which was kind of dumb, is when I was doing this sort of crossover line style firework, you can see that I'm actually crossing over the middle several times with this pen, and eventually I did start to notice some bleed through. It wasn't catastrophic because it is just one little spot that I started to do it, but you'll see in a moment that I start hopping over that line because, yep, there I spotted the bleed through. So now I'm just adding some finishing touches to my overall month sort of layout, design, page, whatever you want to call it. Again, I'm not an artist, so it definitely could be better, and I'm sure you guys would be able to outdo me big time. But yeah, I find that basic works for me. If I try and overcomplicate it too much, it just gets really messy, and I prefer it to be neat and simplistic. On the next page, we have my monthly view. I find for me personally that this is a really nice way to lay out my month. It's really straightforward with the days of the week in letters down the one side, as well as the actual numbers of the days of the month. I just really like the fact that it's so simple and it really clearly displays your month as you like it. Obviously you could do this in a different way and lay it out in different ways. I've seen on Pinterest and on other YouTube channels there are literally a million ways to lay this out, but for me, keeping it on one page and keeping it straightforward works best, and it's also really easy to stay on top of. On the bottom you'll see that I'm doing this sort of banner effect. I think this is really pretty and I always end up with quite a large gap at the bottom, so this is a nice way to utilise that space whilst also not making it too cluttered or messy. I think I must have kind of forgotten that I was filming for a second because I hopped on to the next page. Probably just because I had the pen in my hand already and was feeling lazy. That sounds like typical me. So on the right hand side you can see that I'm doing titles, which are social media, goals and to do. This is another page that I do every month, and it's just a really nice, easy way to keep track of all my goals and things that I need to achieve throughout the month. So some of it's pretty boring things like life admin, but some of it's also blogging things. So my social media refers to how much growth I want to get in that month. I try and keep it as accurate as possible whilst also trying to set my goals high. But to be honest, it does, on different platforms, it does vary month to month. So that's why I haven't filled this bit in for you here, because I need to do a little bit of maths and have a look at my recent social media growth to kind of track where I'm at on that. Now, because I forgot I was filming and did the two outline headers of the two pages at once, you're now going to have to sit and watch me fill this bit in, but the colouring will come soon and I'll start to make it look pretty, so I'll put the music a bit louder and let you sit back and watch, because this bit can sometimes be a therapeutic part. In terms of a colour scheme for this month, I'm trying to keep it as autumnal as possible, so like in the very warm tones, so oranges, browns. I wasn't going to do red, it's a bit fiery, but yeah, oranges, browns, yellows, and there's a bit of green in there too. So in an ideal world, I'd have kept it basic and just maybe pick two colours and just use the palette within that, but I like to swap around between colours and make my bullet journal nice and colourful and exciting to look at. So it is generally autumnal, but I kind of stray between this colour and that colour throughout. Now, you may have noticed in the past, or you may just be noticing now, but I don't often use rulers. Some of you might hate this look and think, oh, it looks really rough, like I wish you'd just do straight lines. But I quite like the rustic look, and I quite like owning my mistakes. Through the years of, well, 1 year of using my bullet journal, I've kind of learned to own your mistakes and to not make everything perfect, because when you make everything perfect, then suddenly becomes a lot of pressure to keep it perfect, and that kind of demotivates you from using your bullet journal. But that might just be me. Next, of course, comes my monthly expense tracker. I have used this system for, I don't know, a really long time. I find it really, really useful for those months where you kind of look at your bank account and think, oh my god, where did my money go? So keeping on top of this really helps, because I do sometimes get that, like, you know, that feeling in your heart or in your stomach where you see a bank transaction and you're just like, where did that come from? Keeping this system helps me keep track of my finances and really helps me to remind where I'm spending all my money, because sometimes I honestly do not know, which is a bit worrying. So yeah, I definitely recommend this to anyone who's trying to keep on budget or is thinking, where is all my money going? Because you trust me, you'll start doing this and you'll start thinking, do I really need to buy that? Probably not. You might also notice that for this page I do use a ruler. That is purely just to keep it looking kind of neat and to also keep some order to it, because otherwise I feel like it just becomes an absolute mess, and this is like the one page that I want to keep on top of and keep organised. So that's why I use a ruler for this page. This is the one exception to my rule of no rulers. This page is actually a new one that I'm trying out this month. This one's a double spread and it's a 1 line a day mood tracker. I think I found this on Pinterest somewhere, and I'm not going to lie, you guys, my mental health has not been absolutely fabulous recently, but that is just due to some stuff going on in my life. I just thought it would be a nice idea to try and track my moods. and see how this month goes in comparison to the last couple, because things are looking up and I just wanted to make a note of that. So how this mood tracker is hopefully going to work is that I've got the days of the month jotted down on one side on the right hand side of the page, and then I'm going to colour code it. So on a good day it's going to be green, on a bad day it's going to be red, and then you've got all the bits in between. And the bit I'm outlining now is just the key to show the colours and the moods that will correspond to those colours. So on the right hand side I'll be filling out my moods on the day, and the one line a day idea is basically to write one line about my day. I do have a tendency to ramble sometimes, so when I have a journal I can easily fill out like 4 pages about my day. So the idea of this is just to write one little summary line of how my day went and to kind of explain my mood, and then hopefully that will sort of have a cause and effect consequence, so I'll be able to look back and see why that mood happened. So for a really good day, then maybe I'll get some sort of ideas and inspiration as to how to keep my mood in a good place in the future. This month I've been kind of experimenting with this white pen. If you wanted to know, it's a Uniball Signo broad white ball pen. I will link it down below as always. But yeah, I'm not really sure how I feel about this. On the actual planner itself, it looks quite good, but I'm noticing now that on the video it's not coming up too clear. Perhaps because the sort of highlighted colours that I'm using underneath aren't dark enough, but my concern with that is I don't want to start using darker colours that are going to bleed through the page, because I really got on with these highlighter pens as it stands already. So if any of you guys have any tips about the white Signo ball pen, I'm probably getting the name wrong now, but yeah, if you have any tips to get it to show up more on the page, then I'm all ears. This spread is another new kind of monthly tracker, and I'm really hoping this works for me. I actually designed this one completely myself, which normally means that I'll probably hate it and redesign it next month, but fingers crossed. The reason I'm making this spread is because, as I mentioned before, I've had a rough couple of months, and because of that, that means that my blogging and my vlogging and YouTubing has fallen massively behind. So in order to try and combat that and get on top of it, I've decided to make myself an actual schedule. What I normally do is just make myself a to-do list and sort of keep that on my desk during the week, but that's a bit ridiculous really. When I already have a bullet journal, I should be utilising that and incorporating that in my monthly tracking. This is my final page that I will be mapping out for you this month, and this is my weekly spread. I'm only going to be recording me filling out one of these just because it's going to be exactly the same for the whole month. So you're going to have 4 identical pages just with different days of the month on, which would be a bit boring for you to sit through. So what we've got is just the basic days of the week with spaces to fill out my to-do list. On one side I've got goals, which is a very small box because I don't want to be too overly ambitious. We've also got my tasks, which I suppose is kind of like goals, but maybe a bit more like admin. And then on the other side, I've got my need/want box, which comes in really handy. That's just sort of things, probably things from ASOS that I don't really need, but I kind of want. And then we've also got 2 trackers on the side, which I've recently kind of changed, which are my gym and self-care trackers. So every time I go to the gym during the week, I will fill that in, and every time I take a night for myself to focus on my self-care, I will also fill that in. So that's the end of my monthly flip through. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy how creative I got. I've said it before and I'll say it again, I'm not an artist, so none of this is perfect, but then again, none of it's supposed to be. Soon I'm going to be filming a video all about top tips for beginners at bullet journaling, so if you have any questions that you've been dying to ask me, please comment below and I'll make sure to answer them in my next video. Alternatively, click the links below to find my social media channels, and you can always connect with me on there and ask me any questions you want to through social media, of course. Don't forget to give this video a massive thumbs up and to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Also, please make sure to comment below with any comments or suggestions you might have. I'm always open to hearing feedback, so I would love to hear from you. See you next time. Bye!